Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, Riley, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, guys.
Yo, what's going on?
I'm magicked out.
What's up, nerds?
Welcome back. We are doing another episode of Commander Grades. That is right. What is this series? It's the series where we do exactly that. We give all of the commanders a letter grade, and then we give an average grade between all four of us. This video is about the precon called Limit Break from Final Fantasy. Each of these precons had more than just the two brand new legends being the face and the backup commander of it. They were stacked full of brand new legendary creatures, as was this entire set. So strap in, we've got a lot to talk about. But before we do, just a reminder everybody to hit the like button and subscribe because we're almost there at 20,000 subscribers. And when we get there, big giveaway. Don't want to miss it.
Pizza party.
So, pizza party. Don't spoil it, Shane. Come on. Let's just go ahead and just get right into Limit Break. It is obviously helmed by Cloud, ex-soldier. It's 2 red, green, and white for a 4/4 legendary creature human soldier mercenary. It's got haste and it says when Cloud enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. And whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. And then if Cloud has power 7 or greater, you create 2 treasure tokens. We have seen this go off in our gameplay, which you guys haven't necessarily seen yet. But I will talk about this first because I was the one that did the limit break upgrade using Cloud and also the backup. If you guys wanted to see those videos, links in the description. But Cloud, this card is insane. Obviously, you're trying to build up your board first before Cloud hits the field because you don't want to cast your commander before you get equipment out. So just attach free equipment to Cloud once he enters. Love that it has haste, so it does the thing right away. It's an attack trigger, not a combat damage trigger. So you're drawing cards immediately. And card draw wins games. Stapled onto a commander, I think that's fantastic. And then just an added bonus if you get Cloud's power big enough. Just have more mana. This card's really cool.
I played up against this card several times over the weekend, and this is definitely a powerhouse. This is one of those commanders too. There's just because like whenever it drops, it kind of immediately pumps itself with that equipment and haste. Killing this, I felt like did nothing. It was just always a threat.
Yeah, Cloud is super strong. Anytime you have the words attach equipment you control as it enters is going to be very strong. And this is an equipment style deck. But I think the cool thing is most of the time, sometimes when you see equipment style decks, they're usually like Voltron based. This is kind of like really wanting you to build a board state, swing with a bunch of equipped creatures so that way you're drawing a bunch of cards. You don't necessarily have to, but it is kind of nice. So I really do like that they have that little added feature in there.
Any way to make equipment just that much faster too, like you've been saying? I think it's amazing. In the power creep nowadays where it comes in attached to things and it's just another way to do that right away. It reminds me of like Captain America, but different. Really cool though. I'm kind of liking equipment decks, Hunter. This is a cool card.
Yeah, you said it yourself. Any way to just gloss over the equipped cost of anything is just very good in my opinion. And that, like you said, they've been just kind of turning the power up to equipment to make it a little bit more relevant in today's Magic the Gathering being so aggressive. This is that aggressive card, and it just continues to just give you this advantage on itself. So great card.
Yeah, not to mention that with this set, they also came with the job select mechanic. So you literally get a creature coming into the battlefield that is already equipped. So this being 3 colors, you can throw in a bunch of those kind of mechanics into this deck and just have a blast.
Well, I think we all said our part. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I will kick us off for Cloud. Cloud, as much as I do like it, I don't think it's one of the biggest powerhouses we've seen in Magic, so I'm going to just stick with a B.
Yeah, I'll join you there with a B.
So going to be joining you there. Yeah, it's a B. It's still a big threat. It's a great card. It's a big threat. I agree. It's a B.
All right, well, Cloud X Soldier kicks us off in the video for the average grade of a B.
Don't get farewelled.
Moving on to the backup of Limit Break, it is Tifa, Martial Artist. It is 1 red, green, and white for a 4/4 legendary creature human monk. Got melee. In case you forgot, whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attack to this combat. And whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. Once again, I did the upgrade using Tifa at the helm, and boy, oh boy, can this really turn on very quickly. It is not hard to do to swing at multiple opponents with Tifa and some other creatures and get Tifa's power to 7 immediately. And if those creatures have power 7, then you're taking 3 additional combats. It's wild.
Have to have double strike on her?
More than that.
Yeah, this card's very aggressive. I think the main reason why I really like this card is because you're technically building your board state to get to Tifa. So just having 2 creatures on the field and then Tifa on the field is all you really need to get Tifa's power to 7, just with the melee, just because it does trigger on itself as well. This is just terrifying. And to be honest with you, after playing one game with it, my strategy is now keep an opening hand of 7 with like 4 removal pieces.
Yeah, Steve and I think talked for pretty much the same thing that I have in mind here. It's a very aggressive card and it deals a lot of damage very, very quickly.
I think it's a situation of a good card good. Build a board, do a lot of damage. Extra turns are never broken, so pretty good.
Yeah, especially extra combats, right? It is a powerhouse. She will fight. Obviously, in that stance. I have no information about Tifa. I don't play Final Fantasy, so hopefully this is on flavor. Comment down below, letting me know it is or not. But coming in cheaper than Cloud 2, this if you're trying to do like the extra combat kind of commander, I think Tifa is the one for you.
And last thing I'll say is just don't be afraid to take one person out. Don't feel like you have to split the damage. Just really just kill the person.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I'll kick us off once again. Uh, very powerful card, but if your opponents mess with your stuff at all, you're kind of bummed. So I'm gonna give it a B.
Join you with a B.
Yeah, I'll join you with a B too. It needs a lot of protection if it's messed with at all. Plus, it also does not have trample, so it's just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I agree. B as well.
Tifa, martial artist, gets the average grade of a B. Next up is Aerith, Last Ancient. It's 2 green and white for a 3/5 legendary creature human cleric druid. It's got lifelink. It also has raise, which means at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you gained 7 or more life this turn, return that card to the battlefield instead. Riley, this seems like a pretty decent kind of life gain, bring stuff back deck in a weird way.
Yeah, it's a cute recursion piece. I do have some concerns regarding just like color combination that this is in. If this were in white black, I think I would be much more excited. White green, there's not really like a ton of ways for me to be able to exploit like a aristocrat strategy here. So I think this is just like a general good piece of getting your stuff back. Lifelink 3, if you gain 7 or more life, that's kind of a fairly steep thing to do repeatedly. So I'm actually not so sure I'm sold on this one.
Yeah, 7's a lot, dude. That's kind of aggressive to get it back to the field like that. And it's back to your hand good enough? It seems kind of slow.
We got the wind crystal. We're good.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Any kind of life gain doubler, if you will. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you also have, I mean, aristocrat strategy is an interesting kind of idea, but I mean, you do have all the altars that are colorless.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy that this card didn't say like if you gain life, return a creature with the mana value or whatever. I think that's kind of like a nice little restriction. Obviously, they did put the throttle on it with the to your hand rather than to the battlefield. 7 is a lot of life to gain in one turn, but obviously this is something you're building up to. So this is in my mind like a little bit more of a mid-range deck. This is not going to be like a very early aggro deck. This is like you're finding your pieces. But the cool thing is that for tutors, green and white, really good to find your enchantments that you need or any creatures you may need. So I mean, I think it's very easily doable.
Yeah, especially coming from this deck, which focuses around equipment. Gave this double strike and just a little bit of a buff, then you get to that 7 with just her. So
Yeah, this is scary though. Swinging like with your commander to rely on that to be dealing with for gaining a life. I don't know. I feel like I'd want to sit
Yeah.
back and protect my shit.
I'm with Shane on this one. I don't think this is a commander that I'm swinging with very often.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like it's a cute card with cute abilities, so I just don't think it's very relevant.
it's fair. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with you, Riley.
I'll give her a C. She's middle of the road for me.
I am going to agree with you there. I think C as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a high C. I'd say like low B, but we have to give one grade, so C.
So like orange juice?
I was gonna say, so like the drink. I'll give it a C as well.
Aerith, Last Ancient, gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Avalanche of Sector 7. It's 2 and a red for a star 3 legendary creature human rebel. It's got menace, and it says its power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, Avalanche of Sector 7 deals 1 damage to that player.
Hmm.
Seems kind of a bit too reliant on your
Yeah.
opponents, right, Shane?
I was gonna say I don't think I'd play as a commander ever. I just don't think it does enough to be a commander. And call me crazy, but even if it was big, I guess it has menace, but it still kind of seems like a big dumb beater. I don't know. This doesn't seem like a commander to me.
I agree. I don't think it seems like a commander either. It's too reliant on having your opponents have a bunch of artifacts. And I understand in a game of EDH, your opponent's going to have a bunch of mana rocks. And when they use those mana rocks, they're going to get hurt because that's what this card says as well. But once again, too reliant on your opponents.
I actually really like this card. I'll be honest with you. I think that this card is just really strong early game, just because obviously everyone's trying to ramp with artifacts and stuff like that. But this card gets so much worse as people start to die. Like as soon as you have 2 opponents go away, the power of this goes down. But at that point, you're in the late game. It's already hopefully done the damage it needs to do. And this is in red. So you can throw in a bunch of effects that deal double damage, pingers, that just kind of like continuously grind the game down. Uh I do understand what everyone's saying. I think that there's just a little bit more there. So I'm a little bit higher on it.
I'm actually a little bit higher on this too. I mean, artifacts are one of the most commonly played card types. Every single deck pretty much runs some kind of artifact support. Yeah, your opponent's like using treasures and stuff like that, is I think where your mind generally wants to gravitate towards. But you play something like a Mycosynth Lattice in this deck, and then suddenly you have a 3-mana Menace commander that has like 30 power, and every time they tap a land, they lose a life. Like this thing could get really, really big, really, really fast.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Well, yeah, I still
Yeah. Build around it, Hunter. God.
build around it. It's the commander. I get it. Yeah, I mean, I like your point. It's big. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. You've stumped me, Riley. Congratulations.
That's what I'm here for.
Well then, let's go to the grades, and we'll start with Steven first.
Yeah, if I have to give this a grade, I'll be honest with you. I really do like monocolored decks, and this is 3 costs. It's cheap. It does a lot of good things. I think I'm actually going to put this at a B. I mean, call me crazy, but I'm pretty high on this.
You're crazy.
You are crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like there's too many like synergies to take advantage of. Like you could put the Oger, the red Oger, I forgot what the name of it is, but then like every time your opponent taps an artifact, they get hit for 4. Like there's just too much here that I can see just going crazy. I'm gonna give this a B.
I liked what you guys said, but I'm still gonna stick with my gut and still say C.
I liked it too. I'm gonna stay with my gut, giving it a D.
Avalanche of Sector 7 gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to the Avalanche leader himself, it's Barret, Avalanche leader. It's 2 red and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature human rebel. It's got reach. It also has Avalanche, which means whenever an equipment you control enters, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token. And also at the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target rebel you control. This is cool. I saw this being used as a support piece for Cloud when I was able to play him in our $100 upgrade gameplay. Went off. Makes a lot of rebels very quickly. That's pretty cool. That's great fodder if anyone's running against a sacrifice deck. And then just like we mentioned with Cloud, free equipped is always good. So I'm here for this
Beating
card.
up equipment, yeah. Giving equipment it can be huge and it equips for free. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I mean it's a build-a-board commander, you know. I like it as a commander. I like it as a support piece. I think I like it as a support piece a little bit more. I was playing a game on Spell Table the other day, and this person was playing a Boros deck where whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you make a 4/4 golem, and it was pretty intense. So just having this around that equipment style, I think, is kind of the same thing, and I can see it getting out of hand pretty quickly.
super impressed by the overall effects of this card, but I will say it does fix one of the problems with playing the equipment archetype, and that is that your deck obviously has to have enough equipment to make things actually like matter, while at the same time playing enough creatures to put the equipment on. So I do like how this has the ability to just kind of like spread things out instead of going the typical maybe like Voltron route that we would normally see. Um, I think it's pretty neat. I'm just not super sold on it.
I
I
think
agree.
you bring up Voltron. This can be Voltron because technically, target rebel could be itself.
Yeah.
So just attach equipment to itself.
Good.
That's strong. It's as a 4/4 already. Um, I'm here for it. I think it's cool. But let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I might be highest on this. I'm actually going to give Barret a B.
I'm gonna go middle of the road on this one. C.
Yeah, I think I'm still at a C though. I think I need to see it in action myself. I never really saw this at the tables when we were in Vegas.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more of a support. I could see it as at the helm though, even a C.
Barret, Avalanche leader, gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Bugenhagen. I hope I'm saying that right. Wise Elder, 1 and a green for a 1/3 legendary creature human shaman. It's got reach and says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, draw a card. You can also tap to add 1 mana of any color. I think this can be a quick
Cool.
one because
Support piece,
this
dude.
definitely is a support piece in another deck. Is this even viable as a commander, Riley? You're shaking your
No.
head no?
Nope. It reminds me of Savala, but it's just worse in every aspect.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Drawing one card. We do say card draw wins games. Drawing one card is not enough.
That stipulation is pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
Stipulation with power 7 or greater, pretty high. But it's a mana dork.
Mana dork that you'd put in a green deck for sure. Playing big green stompy deck. This is going in your deck.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's cool just because like it kind of does show like the power creep of Magic. Like 2 mana dork has reach and then gives you upside on card draw
And
for
gives
doing
you
the
a
thing
card.
that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty solid. Pretty solid as a support piece. This is
100%.
not something I'm running as a commander.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. That's a quick one. It still does one thing, not that well, but I'm going to give it a D.
Wow.
It's an F.
Yeah.
It's an F.
It's an F.
Bugenhagen. I guess that's the stands for average grade of an F. Next up, Cait Sith, Fortune Teller. It's 3 and a red for a 3/3 legendary artifact creature, Cat Moogle. It's got lucky slots, which means at the beginning of combat on your turn, scry 1, then exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you exile a card this way, target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value.
Nope.
It's another support piece. This one goes in Prosper.
Dude, or
It does.
Baldorn.
It does. You're right. Any of those kind of exile stuff, you want to play that stuff, that goes really great.
Yeah.
I will say that I hate the sentence of you may play
Yep.
that card this turn,
Yeah.
especially if you're doing it at combat, which means you're doing it in a weird order if you wanted to play that spell on your first main phase, because you're probably trying to spend mana before you get to combat. Now you just have to wait until after combat. If you hopefully you just waited and wasted a whole turn to play a spell. That's how I look at that.
Silver Lining Hunter, it says play and not cast. All I got.
And that's where I was going with my sentence. It says play, so you can play land. But the downside of that is if you have a spell that costs 5 mana in your hand and you only have the 4 mana, but you had that 1 mana in your hand and you're like, well, if I exile a land, then it's just going to be exiled forever. I kind of hate that kind of thing where like you just lose access to another mana. So then you're like trying to hold. It's kind of like the Bolus of Citadel thing. Like you draw your card, but you don't want to play your land just in case there's a land on the top. And I always forget, and I play my land immediately, and then I look at my top card in my library, and it's a land, and I'm just pissed, and I just know I'm going to be pissed with this card.
There's no way you're arguing that Bolus' Citadel is not good.
No, it's
He's
good.
arguing
Just
that
saying-
Steven's arguing that
dumb.
he doesn't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the feel bads.
Yeah.
All right.
Bolus of Citadel's an awful card.
Let's move on to the grades. A mono red card that feels like it doesn't want to be as aggressive as it should be. Doesn't seem good in my opinion, so I'm going to give this an F.
But Hunter, it does something.
Yeah.
It's a card advantage engine that pumps. I'm gonna give this a D.
It's card advantage that pumps. I'm gonna give this card an F.
Yeah, it's a support piece. It's an F.
Cait Sith, Fortune Teller, gets the average grade of an F. Moving on to Sid, Freeflier Pilot, 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature human warrior pilot. Equipment and vehicle spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. It also has jump, which means during your turn, Sid has flying. It also has another ability. You can pay 2, tap it, return target equipment or vehicle card from your graveyard to your hand. Support piece.
Yeah, dude, if I'm playing Boros equipments, I'm putting it in there.
Or vehicles. Or vehicles.
I guess war vehicles, sure.
Yeah, especially with the new rule change with vehicles or legendary vehicles being able to be your commander. I think that this is going to be a pretty cool support piece in a lot of things moving forward.
But it can jump.
It can jump, which is a very weird thing to just throw onto this card, which obviously has something to do with the character.
Not gonna
jumping out of
lie,
the airplane here.
I thought that said Fump.
Thump.
It is an
Just a
odd.
nice cursive J.
Yeah, it's an odd font.
Weird card. I don't know if I like it as a commander. I think we can move on to the grades. I think we were very on board with this not being as great. We will start with Steven.
Yeah, I really wish this said vigilance because like having this have flying on your turn and then swinging but not being able to do the recursion thing for the 2 mana I think is pretty crappy. And for that reason alone, I'm just gonna give this an F. I don't think this should be a good commander option at all.
Not all of them can be winners. I'm sorry if I'm gonna hate all over your favorite Final Fantasy characters. This card is an F.
Yeah, I agree. This card is also an F.
Man, 3 in a row for me? It's an F.
Sid, Freeflier Pilot, also has an F in its name. Gets the average grade of an F. Elena, Turk Recruit, 2 and a white for a 1/4 legendary creature human assassin. When it enters, return target non-assassin historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast a historic spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Elena. Don't forget, artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic.
Okay.
This can get pretty big pretty quickly if you're playing on like artifact deck.
It's true.
I just really want to know what the gameplay thing that this says specifically don't return non-assassins to your hand has to deal with it. It's such an interesting piece of text to put on this card.
Being an assassin, not returning assassins. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Comment down below what that means. No idea.
The positive for that is in a mono white deck, I don't imagine you have a whole lot of assassins you're going to be playing with.
True.
It's true.
True.
I don't know. Assassin's Creed came out with some nice ones.
This
does
card,
sound
though.
more of a support piece. So,
Mhm.
however, like I said in the beginning, playing a bunch of just artifacts makes this grow, I feel, pretty quickly if you have the support pieces for it.
Yeah.
I really wish that they had like the enters or attacks clause for this card, though you could continuously use it instead of it just being a one-time ETB or me relying on having to flicker this. If I'm relying on flickering it, then it's not growing, so it's
That's
just
terrible,
purely the
yeah.
graveyard recursion. So
Yeah, because that's kind of where I was wanting to go with this too, Riley. I'm just like, how many times is this going to be effective? Like obviously between board wipes and spot removal, like at what point does this card not become relevant whatsoever? And then you're just playing your non-assassin historic deck.
yeah, it makes an infinitely large creature if you start doing like KCI loops, but let's be real. If you're doing those loops, there's better things you could do.
Mm-hmm. With
Also,
more colors.
hopefully you're giving it some form of evasion with these artifacts because it's going to be just a big dumb beater at that point.
Big dumb beater.
Actually, now that I'm
Yeah,
thinking
I'm
about
good.
it, it doesn't even work with KCI loops, so it's just put back in play.
It's a cast.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We talked about this card enough because I think we're all on board. It still does something. I like counters, so I'm just going to give it a D.
I'll give it a D. I think it's cute.
I just think that this wants to do Voltron-y things, and I'm just not here for it. So I'm actually just going to give this an F.
You know, I'm going to go up just by 1 and go to a D.
Y'all are nice.
Elena gets the average grade of a D. Next up is Heidegger, Shinra Executive. It's 3 and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature human soldier. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of soldiers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens equal to the number of opponents who control more creatures than you. Kinda
Hmm.
cool. Soldier kindred, if you will. It's a very popular thing in Magic. So I think this is a very viable commander. What do you think, Riley?
I actually agree with you on this one. There's totally enough like soldiers in white for you to be able to build a legitimate deck around this. I think my main concern is that typically whenever we see these kinds of like mass token production, they don't have this kind of weird stipulation that are eventually going to shut themselves off. So like if your opponents don't play with a whole lot of creatures, it means that he may not be making a whole lot of soldiers on his own, which is going to be much more dependent on the rest of the deck. And then it starts to make me wonder, what is this actually doing for you? Um, I think it's a cool card. I just wish that it would make one for each opponent instead of having that stipulation to potentially just say, well, that opponent has one creature in play, so I guess we're just not going to make a creature for them.
And I think that's perfectly okay because if you're getting enough creatures where, hey, I'm building my board as big as your board, I'm fine with that. And especially if you're making one giant creature and you swing in.
I
Granted, you're in white, so giving it a little bit more of evasion, maybe some flying, not necessarily trample, or hey, throw some equipment in here. That might work too. But big soldier.
If I can interject real quick, just one more thought, just to kind of contradict what you just mentioned. I do play several decks where they may only run like a creature on the field at any given point in time. So you'll never actually get a treasure, or you'll never actually get that soldier from me, where I'm playing more of like a control or a spell slinger or something like that kind of build.
That's fine. And you can also, this doesn't say other creature gets +X/+0, so you can actually target itself. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
This still feels very weird. Like you're not. I don't know. I was reading it the whole time you were talking, and it didn't scream like in a token deck. You make the tokens and go wide, but then if you're going wide with tokens, you're not making any tokens off this guy. You're only gonna have the
Yes.
X, which is
It's fine. It's just one of those cards that like it does something pretty powerful, which I believe is that first part, giving
right.
something +X depending on how many soldiers you have. And that second part is just an added bonus of, hey, on the end of my turn, you actually have more creatures than me. I'm gonna just get more creatures for free, and I'm okay. I'm here for it.
I can see it then. I guess you're right.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I just weird flex, Elspeth. I'm just I just because it clicked in my head, I was just like, I feel like there is so much support for not only token doublers, obviously, but for soldier kindred. Like there's so many things that say create a human soldier, soldier this, soldier that. Because I play a knight deck, and like most of the time, a lot of the support pieces that I have in there sometimes say soldier, and it's a little unfortunate. So I think that in itself makes this card really cool. I'm actually kind of here for it. I obviously just making the one sucks, and sometimes you won't. But I think with the fact that you can just build such a large board state and then just make doublers or even triplers, because you do have that Osier, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool too. I mean, Myrel or Myrel, however you want to say it, she makes tokens that are soldiers. That cares about the amount of soldiers as well. So you can kind of flip flop if you want to put this into that deck or that into this deck. I think they work really well with each other. But I think we're good. I think we should move on to the grades. Actually, white best color in Magic. This is getting a B.
I'm not gonna agree with that, but I will agree with the B.
I'm actually pretty low on this, even after the convincing argument of all the extra tokens. I'm gonna give this a D.
Yeah, I'm more middle of the road as well. I didn't get convinced. I'll still give it a C though for you.
Well, Heidegger, Shinra Executive gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Professor Hojo. It's 1 and a green for a 2/2 legendary creature, human scientist. The first activated ability you activate during your turn that targets a creature you control costs 2 less to activate. It also says whenever one or more creatures you control become the target of an activated ability, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Really learn from the
Bad.
old
Not
The old bird wizard, huh?
can't do the little continuously target. Yeah. This seems cool, but I don't like the stipulation of only once each turn, so that's why I don't think it's that powerful.
But your stuff
Yeah, they
is cheaper.
really throttled this down.
Your stuff is cheaper for the first time, Shane.
Wait, the first time of just.
The first activated ability you activate.
I thought it was just that creature that got it. Huh. Okay. Well, I mean,
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna
what?
say the thing.
Bad card,
Meh.
bad.
Oh, meh.
Meh.
I think it could be
No,
okay. It's a bear.
I think that this is so interesting. We sit over here and we talk about like a ton of equipment matters creatures with this like set. This is for most equipment 2 mana for you can just equip for free, and whenever you do, you draw a card. And then whenever your
Which
opponent
is
tries to remove this, you also draw a card.
a good support piece.
Eh.
I think that the reason why I 100% agree with you, Riley. That is such a strong statement. It makes this card very good. This is mono green, and that's where I stop.
Mhm.
I think for any kind of effect that I want like this, I want to be in multiple colors to add different kind of fields of like different versatility that I want to do. This being in mono green, there's so many other mono green things that I can do and think of that I rather not just play Professor Hojo instead. I think that's where I kind of like I don't care for this card whatsoever.
Also, Riley, just want to just interject real quick with something you said. They try to remove this with a planeswalker or something that has an activated ability, you draw a card, not necessarily targeted removal.
That's true.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with Shane. Shane, what do you feel about Professor Hojo?
It's not a good professor, but I mean, it's okay. I'm gonna give him a D.
Not a good professor. I will I think I'm gonna give this a C. I think it's middle of the road, but the mono green really stops it from being anything better.
I'm gonna actually give this a D. I thought I was the highest on it.
Yeah, I'm giving this a D as well. And with that, Professor Hojo gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to the dog looking, not dog thing. Red 13, Proud Warrior. 1 red and a green for a 3/3 legendary creature, Beast Warrior. It's got vigilance and trample. It says other modified creatures you control have vigilance and trample. And it has Cosmo Memory, which means when red 13 enters, return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. It's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, the only other thing that's
Vigilant
a lot
Trample,
of
huh?
is red 1 through 12.
We don't want to talk about them, all right? They didn't do well.
Red 13
Obviously.
is where we're at. All right. Giving other modified creatures vigilance and trample is nothing to scoff at.
Not at all, dude. There's a lot of ways like you bump up big creatures and then there's big dumb beaters, but now all your things that you could get big are not big dumb beaters anymore.
Yeah, because counters are modifications.
Yep.
So if this pretty cool little counters matter in Gruul, if you will. But you're probably leaning more towards the aura and equipment just from the second ability, or
Yeah.
the third ability.
Do both.
Do it all. Why
Do it
not?
all.
This card's great.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways to put counters on in green. So card's pretty nuts. It kind of reminds me in a way of Kodama, because Kodama gives all modified creatures trample. Granted, it also gives you that basic land type, but giving vigilance on top of the trample,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, baby, we swinging. This is Gruul doing Gruul at its finest.
What do you think, Riley?
A very Gruul card. I think that there's a lot to love with this. I don't know why. I just can't convince myself that I would want to play this over something else. I just like this screams support. It's a great support piece in these kinds of decks. Um, I don't know. I just feel like it's like I want to be swinging in with other things and have this one kind of like chill back so that this isn't in danger.
That's true.
That's fair. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with me. I'm actually going to go ahead and give this. I think I'm going to go. I do agree
Just
with
a
your.
B.
I'm going to give your support piece very good thought, Riley, and that's why I'm going to a C.
Whoa. I'm not. I think this is a B. I think this is so fun. I'm a Timmy player.
I'm sticking with the C on this one.
Yeah, my gut says C, Steven.
It's all right.
Well, Red
Yeah.
13, Proud Warrior, gets the average grade of a C.
Ain't no Timmy's in here.
Moving on to the big baddie, it's Sephiroth, Fallen Hero. 3 red and a white for a 7/5 legendary creature human avatar soldier. It's got Genova cells, which means whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may put a cell counter on target creature. Until end of turn, each modified creature you control has base power and toughness 7/5. It also has the reunion. For 3 mana, you can sacrifice a modified creature to return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is a banger.
Yeah, I love this.
This,
Yeah.
this is nuts. Any of your little tiny tokens that have 1 counter, well, guess what? Now they're 7/5s. Actually, they're 8/6s because they have a
8/6s, yeah.
counter.
Yeah.
Assuming that counter was +1/+1, but yes,
True.
I love that too. Is the fact that it increases the base power and toughness. I also love that from a commander standpoint, you can make it to where this thing just dodges commander attacks.
True.
Just
Scary,
keep
but
putting it in
true.
your grave. It is scary, especially in Boros.
I like this card a lot, though. If I liked the last one, I like this one too.
Mhm.
You can also use that last ability at instant speed. It doesn't have a timing stipulation there too. So enter the battlefield tapped. Don't really care. I'll just do it on my opponent's end step right before my turn.
Yeah, the card, it's just, hey, are we agreeing that this is a good Boros card?
You get
No.
one, Hunter.
Awesome. You don't like this card, Steven?
No, I do. I just won't agree with you on Boros being good.
I agree with Steven.
Boros is the best color combination in Magic. We all know that.
You should get it tattooed on you.
Maybe I will. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Shane, kick us off.
I think Sephiroth for me is a B.
I am in complete agreement with you. This is a B.
It's a B. If it had haste, it would be an A.
That's
it's
true.
not. Doesn't have haste.
100%. Yeah.
I would say the haste is okay. I would probably, if this did not come into the battlefield tapped, I'd probably give this an A. I think I could forego the haste if it wouldn't come in tapped. Enough. No, I'm just kidding. I'm B.
Sephiroth, Fallen Hero, gets the average grade of a B. Next up is Vincent, Vengeful Atoner. 2 and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature assassin. It's got Menace and says whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 counter on Vincent. Has another ability called Chaos. Whenever Vincent deals damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent if Vincent's power is 7 or greater. That if really hurts this card, huh, Riley?
Yeah, it really does. I feel like this is going to be a card that, like, the upside is you're going to think that you just be burning your opponents out, but this is something that your opponents are going to be able to see coming. By the time it turns on, they're probably going to get it, just kill it, and because of the way that this card is formatted, it's going to have to build all that back up. I feel like this is one of those, like, any removal is going to feel like a board wipe. I'm not here for this card at all,
That's-
actually.
Very true.
It's a bummer, but that if, like, I get that they were trying to do like all this power 7 and all
7.
this number 7 because of Final Fantasy 7 in the deck itself, but man, I wish it didn't say that. This would have been so cool.
I mean, I'll agree with everything everyone's saying. I still think this is a pretty powerful card. I mean, 3 mana, 3/3 Menace is really good. It's probably going to get in, get that first counter. Tons of ways to double the power of your creatures in red. You're also going to be able to deal more damage. Now, granted, double damage does not mean that the power will be 7. So you are risking that in that effect. I will say that is kind of a negative Nancy of this card saying if. But I still think it's pretty good. This is also in the equipment style deck, so this is probably meant for equipments to be thrown on it. But you can build it in other different ways, and I think it's a little bit better than everyone's kind of saying.
I think that word if is quite literally what's keeping this card at a 6/6 my entire life. Because I'll only ever get to a 6/6. And one of my friends here, every single time, like Riley said, will never let it go to 7. That just doesn't really will ever do that. But it's a really cool ability.
Yeah, but you can't think with just like the pod that's here.
Well, I can't. I have to.
I mean, in real talk, like we do play up against each other probably more than anybody else, and like some people here like to play a lot of removal. I mean, commander attacks is a thing, Steven.
That's very true. In Vegas, Riley killed my commander at least 6 times in one game. It was very aggressive.
Don't
But
cast commanders.
same in the same sentence, what I will say is I played in another pod with 3 other people and my commander stayed on the board for 7 turns. So some people, like, it just depends on the pod you're in. If some people kind of know what's going on, they're going to remove it. This is kind of probably one of those cards where you get like 1 game in, you'll do the thing really well, and then you'll never really do it again unless you play with 3 more random people. But again, I like this card. I think it's really cool mechanically, and also the art is just chef's kiss.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with you, Steven.
Sure, I'll give this a C.
I am actually in agreement. I think it's just kind of middle of the road. It's a C.
It's a D.
I'm gonna say middle of the road as well. See.
Vincent, Vengeful Atoner gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to the final legendary creature from Limit Break, it's Yuffie, Materia Hunter. It's 2 and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature, Human Ninja. It has ninjutsu for 1 and a red. And when Yuffie enters, gain control of target non-creature artifact for as long as you control Yuffie, then you may attach an equipment you control to Yuffie. This card is unfortunately not good as a commander, based on the fact ninjutsu only works from your hand.
You're not
This
wrong.
card is so good.
Yeah,
card's
I mean, this
good.
card is great. The only thing that you need is Wizards to print a card that's like Command Beacon, but also says at the bottom you can have as many of them in the like in your deck as possible.
All right, hear me out here, okay?
Can't wait.
This is a mass land destruction commander. Everybody plays around with artifacts and stuff like that. You're in the best color for it. You could just play around with mono red. You blow up people's lands, you build up your artifacts, and then you drop this and you steal your opponent's artifacts so that they don't have the ability to even get back into the game.
No.
You steal 1?
Yeah, I'm a terrible person.
I'm not playing that.
You're just stealing 1 artifact?
Yeah, look, I'll take your soul ring and take you out for a couple of turns.
Riley, I think the only thing I have to say about this card, Riley, is for you. You think that she's a materia girl living in a materia world?
I was gonna say I think this is Wizards' first attempt at maybe bringing Pokemon into Magic. It's like
It
she's
does
holding
look
a
like it.
Pokeball.
Getting sued.
Are we
Yep.
bringing ninjutsu back too?
Oh my god, we're getting Naruto.
All right. Let's move on to the grades for this final card. I think we're all on board. I'm sticking to an F.
F.
I'm giving it a D. I'm gonna make my mass land destruction dreams come true.
I'm giving it a F.
There you go. Yuffie Materia Hunter gets the average grade of an F. And that is going to do it for us today. Wow, that was a lot of legends from one deck. Pretty crazy. There's more from other decks. So strap in. This is a long legendary commander grade season, if you will. But if you guys liked that video, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you're staying up to date with everything else that we got going on. And like I mentioned at the beginning, almost at 20,000 subs. If you're watching this video, why aren't you subscribed? You could be part of the giveaway when we do that. But also in the description, you'll find links to, don't know when you're watching this, but maybe there's other commander grades from this set that's been released already. Check that out down below, as well as all of our social media links too. Follow us on those. Stay up to date with everything else that we got going on. And comment down below. Did you guys agree with these grades? Maybe you disagreed with them. Always should hear your guys' opinion on why or why not. And on the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It really does mean the world to us. If you guys wanted to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, including early access content, exclusive content, and all that jazz, check the link in the description as well and consider subscribing. And a very special shout out to our Gains Indestructible tier, starting with
Aaron Hill,
Aaron Martin,
Brian Ganella,
Daryl Tripp,
Demarion Turner,
Doc Jerome,
Jimmy Ward,
Kevo,
Larry Killian,
Daniel Abbott,
Thrifty PSGR,
and William Colombo.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.
Bye bye.
Bye.